I'm going to level with you guys. When I heard that this book was announced, I was really reluctant. More so because I'm tired of seeing this. I'm so tired of seeing number one. I could scream. I feel like if you're going to relaunch Batman, keep the legacy number. I've seen so many of us, of collectors and whatnot, saying, why does it always have to be a number one? Why does it have to be a number one? I even saw a video where someone said that the number one, back in the day, that was like people get excited because it's a new series. Da, 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 da. But now, well, we're on the fourth volume of Batman, number one. So right there made my skin crawl. But what piqued my curiosity about it, the cover. This reminds me of something you would see during like the Jim Starlin, Jim Aparo, Frank Miller era of Batman, around what was 300 to 400s. These were the type of cool covers that you would get. Very beautiful piece. Now, with that said, though, I've talked about where covers could be cool, but then you open it up and all it did is it polished a turd. So, one thing, we'll talk about that in a minute. Another thing I want to address, DC, all in. How many times have you said all in and then you reboot something? Your rebirth was freaking awesome. And then you decided to disparage all that and essentially made the Three Jokers an Elseworld story rather than kind of sticking with what Jeff Johns was trying to script. So, and then the whole thing, I remember, this is a $5 book. I remember around the time, what was it, mid 2000s, around Blackest Nights, where your big promo was drawn the line at $2.99. Bullshit. Anyway, just little promo things like that just irk my girt. Now, is this a polished turd? No. Maybe you guys can kind of help me out because I dipped out of collecting comics regularly. I liked the route that Zdarsky was going after Tinian. I love Tinian's run, by the way. And then I kind of was what I dipped out around the failsafe arc with Zdarsky, not because it wasn't bad, it's just we were getting ready to move at the time. If you guys have been with me that long, and I just have not wanted to get back into collecting regularly. That's why I just kind of pick up randomly and see what's been going on. So if y'all can kind of help me on how we got from the end of what was Batman 149 to here, what's been happening. If you can kind of give me a brief synopsis down in the description, I really would appreciate it. But anyway, so we see no rain. Beg pardon, Commissioner. Heat, humidity, thunder, still no rain. And it's Officer Gordon these days, Officer Espinosa. Jim is fine too. So the last time that I remember really seeing Jim was during the Joker solo series by Tinian, and he retired and kind of became a private investigator, and he was tasked, I think it was by Talia, to hunt down the Joker or something like that. And also, I don't really know how he went from getting uninfected from the Batman Who Laughs, because that was part of it too. Is he was one of the X amount who were infected during Scott Snyder's run, along with Shazam. Blah 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 blah. So how he's back to being a beat cop, if you can kind of help me out with that, because this isn't a different universe from what I understand. This is a continuation. But it's cool to see him back as a beat cop, even though him being a little bit older, he's supposed to be commissioner. It's too bad that he didn't move on to being like mayor or something. Like I would love to see Gordon kind of ascend to a different level to help Gotham City instead of kind of being the beat that he is. Now, before they could have any other interaction, just two beat cops talking, we see this image in the sky. Beautiful piece. Don't get me wrong. I love the creative team. Matt Fraction, I kind of have a love and hate with, and that's sort of the same reason that I've had love and hates with Zdarsky, because I've seen both of them doing their jokey, witty humor, and it's painful, but they can write drama really well. So we're not 100% sure who this character is. And then, now remember, this is kind of I guess you'd call this Twilight relative day, so it's interesting to again see Batman during the day, because that was a sort of a thing that would happen a lot during the pre-crisis, where Batman would still come out in the day. It would hang out with Commissioner Gordon and whatnot to get things done. So that was just interesting. I mean, he was still predominant night, but this uniform really harkens back to that time. So we go to the Lower East Side, Arkham Towers. When did it become Arkham Towers? And I just like how Batman just says, getting pretty tired of this. And the splash page is beautiful because we see him standing in this hole and then like this really cool sort of fisheye lens of him standing that high up in the sky. So we realize that this is Killer Croc. We are introduced to Dr. Zeller. We're as shocked as you, Batman. Waylon Jones self-reported for treatment and could have left anytime he wished. This containment unit was built to withstand a bomb blast. You're new here, Doctor. Killer Croc hasn't been Waylon Jones for a long time. I try to keep them separate in my mind. It's easier that way when they inevitably disappoint you. Good dialogue. But one thing that I will say, and I'm going to kind of go over this, so bear with me. Zeller says, Waylon may be a supervillain to you, but he's a patient to me. Waylon Jones is changing Batman. He began, and I cannot pronounce this, ecdysis, Ecdysis, if you can help me with that, shedding his skin, but it continued deeper, as though he were shedding everything inside and out. And Bruce says, people never really change. Tell that to Waylon. He's been exposed to unknown morph toxins with unpredictable results. He's regressing, gentle, almost childlike. But then your mutating, man-killing monster baby wanted to go out and play. He may be capable of great violence, but he's capable of great tenderness too. Curiosity even, wonder. But right now he's afraid. Fear prevents us from having a say in how our minds respond to the chaos of trauma. But it requires trust, care, and time. Time is the one thing we're out of, Dr. Zeller. Good dialogue between the two. But what irks my Gert, and I don't know if this is Batman just kind of being a little more jaded at this point because of the death of Alfred, but what Dr. Zeller is saying is what Batman would say. That's why he always, whenever he contains villains, he uses Wayne Enterprises resources to help. So having Zeller usually saying what Batman would, and Batman being the jaded one, it feels a little out of character. And I'm thinking that Fraction's using this for the sake of the story, and we'll get into it, but I just want you guys to notice that. And then we're treated to New Gotham. And another thing that kind of I'm not huge on with this book is each time Batman uses a new gadget, we have to like Batwing, low altitude, low opening flight suit, Titanography wave, glide ratio 5:1. Who cares? This isn't Arkham Asylum. We don't need all the specifics. That's just me. Whatever. And then I love this. Batman, vast colors in the dark. This is Matt Fraction writing. Jorge Jimenez doing the art and the cover. Tomeu Morey doing the colors. Clayton Cowles doing the lettering. So this is essentially the creative team that Tinian was working with. And I loved their work on the book. Time will tell how Fraction works, but I kind of wish that Tinian would have stayed on Batman because he really gave us a lot of interesting concepts. I've yet to finish the run, but I love the Joker War. Where I am at in Tinian's run, that we still need to go through his Fear State, and I'm kind of hoping that's good. Now, what I mean by kind of help bring me up to speed is now we're at Gotham City headquarters, and we see that this gentleman here saying, I'm bringing a force multiplier to your street presence from the world of private security, tactical urban combat officers. They execute high-intensity security operations like recapturing tonight's escapee. They are deputized and sanctioned to aid and abet in bringing back law and order to our streets. You officers are not to engage. You are to report, and our tactile team will come in. Now, here, this guy says, Commissioner Savage, that ring a bell? This is Vandal Savage, the Immortal. How the hell does this larger-than-life Justice League level villain become the commissioner? When the hell did that happen? Where the hell is Harvey Bullock? I'm so confused because I'm so out of the loop. So if you guys can help me with that, I'd appreciate it. I mean, it's interesting seeing a DC villain that Batman knows about being the commissioner of police and ready to take down the Bat, because this guy says, what do we do if we see, him? His time will come. The Batman can't outrun Gotham justice. okay, so I'm excited to see where this goes because Vandal Savage, the last time I saw him as a major threat was at the end of the New 52 Superman, where Superman was weakened and they had to take down Vandal Savage. And I believe he was the one that kind of exposed Clark to that, what is it, the kryptonite radiation that was slowly killing him and eventually did. So I'm trying to put those pieces together in my head. But nonetheless, it's interesting. So if you've never read a comic, you're not really going to know who Vandal Savage is. You'll have to go do some research, but it's enough to kind of go, well, who's this new guy? Why is he the commissioner of police? Because I remember from Batman the Animated Series, it's always been Commissioner Gordon and Harvey Bullock. So if you guys could kind of help a brother out, I'd appreciate it. Now, here's where I got excited and a little on board with Matt Fraction. I've said this before, and I'm not shy to say it again. Pisses me off that Tom King killed Alfred. It was unfucking necessary. I don't like to cuss that much, but that was unfucking necessary. And it still hurts a lot of us Batman fans. When that happened during the City of Bane, I closed books for a while, and I had a hard time picking it back up. Kind of like how when Glenn died in The Walking Dead, I had to take a long break from the omnibuses that I was reading. And then when they did the Batman versus Robin, and we thought we saw Alfred come back, I was like, yes! But then they decided to inevitably kill him off again. That hurt. And apparently, and this is another thing I was saying, please help me out, is during one of Zdarsky's things, is the zombie war or something, he actually brought Alfred's corpse back to break down Bruce because he found out who Batman was, and then Alfred died again. So that's 3 times that he's recently died. All that said, I say this to say this. You see, rather moody and silent this evening, Master Bruce. And I was like, wait, what the frick? Where are we going? I wonder. Playing a hunch. We're like, wait a minute. I had to stop. I took a step back and I did probably about 20 minutes research. I went, what the hell? How is Alfred in the Batmobile? Well, after doing some research, apparently they kind of pulled a Riri Williams, Tony Stark type thing after Civil War II, where Tony died and became AI. This is the first appearance of Alfred Pennyworth as an AI. So think of him like that, or as like Jarvis from the MCU movies. Not fully satisfied, but to at least see Alfred back in some form makes my heart warm. I was happy for that. And of course, he has that quip. And Bruce even says, where is it? Where is it? Oh, hell, where is it? There was a particular scene that I wanted to point out. Hold on a minute. Nope. Damn it. Why is it when I want to show you guys something, I can never find what the hell it is I'm looking for? It's in here somewhere. And essentially, Bruce and Alfred are going back and forth the way they usually do. And I can't find it in here, but he essentially says, I missed that Pennyworth wit. And it hit me. And it made me excited that at least, in a sense, we have Alfred back. Now we're going to kind of skip past Batman being Batman, because I want to get to this. Remember, Croc is on the loose, and it leads him to Robinson Park, the Natural History Museum. And Bruce essentially says, or Batman says, contact Dr. Zeller at Auckland. Do not call the police. What are you going to do? Strike a little terror into his heart. And of course, Bat gauntlets, but that we don't. Just going to set that aside. But the artwork's beautiful. This looks like something you would see from Jacques. Very great rendition. Now we're thinking that we're going to get boom, slugfest with Killer Croc, right? Which would feel a little predictable. Instead, he busts out. We're waiting for the fight. Come on, Croc. Let's get this over with. You bad. And see how he kind of just sort of laughs. He's waiting. And he goes, you bad. So go. Master Bruce, what if Dr. Zeller is correct? Some creatures do, in fact, change. We see Croc sit down, facing his back to Batman. What if some eternal cycle has begun with him again and again, even if only for this moment, he's become something like a child? And I love, again, the symbolic thing of the butterfly landing calmly, peacefully on his shoulder. A child alone. In a violent, terrible world he cannot understand, drowning in fear. If it's as you say, and no one ever really changes, Master Bruce, then surely you know how it feels. And in that moment, he turns off the bat comments, takes off his mask, sits down next to Croc. Now, remember how he said that he tries to keep Killer Croc and Waylon separate so that he's not ultimately disappointed. Takes his mask off and he goes, you know, Waylon, I used to have one of these in my house. Big house. Yeah, it was. You head new now? Say so. Me head new, but bad now. Lost. Yep, I ate the zoo. I know you did, buddy. I know. Him head up there like me up there. How so? You mean a king? No. Can't think. Head bad. Maybe I'm bad. Now remember, one thing that Zeller shows, I forgot to mention at the beginning, but she has this toy dinosaur. And as they're moving Croc back to Arkham, she hands him the dinosaur. She goes, you made a bad choice, Waylon. Now you can make a good choice. And now he goes, home now. She help. Who help you? My head's okay, Waylon. I don't need help. And he gives Batman the dinosaur. If you say so. That hit me. Primarily because I'm a father now. And I've kind of had, minus the eating the whole zoo thing, but you've just kind of had these quiet moments with your kid. And they will say some profound things once in a while, and you're just kind of like, whoa, how do I break this down for him to understand? And Bruce now, and this wasn't a conversation between Batman and Killer Croc. This was a conversation between Bruce Wayne and Waylon Jones. And I teared up a little bit. That was a really surprising thing, because usually with first issues, you want them to be action-packed. This was a great little surprise, breath of fresh air, and to show the new take on Batman. And then as the book ends, I'm not going to show anymore. Then the action starts to rev up. But the whole thing, what really sold this book for me was the return of Alfred as an AI and this moment with Killer Croc and Batman, or should I say Bruce Wayne. So with that said, guys, if you've been wanting to get back into Batman, I will say get this book, because I try not to be negative, Nancy. I really don't. And that's why I will say that I was reluctant to read this because of Absolute Batman. Don't get me wrong. I love Snyder's work on Batman. It's action-packed. It's intense. It's been fun. And the story in and of itself, and I think a lot of people say, oh, that's not a good take on what you did for Absolute Batman. I understand what you're saying. The story in and of itself was not bad. What I was trying to get across is the fact that, Jack Kirby says that comic characters, Batman, Superman, Captain America, the Avengers, they are our modern mythos. And, before that, it was like Ben-Hur, Gilgamesh, Zeus, and the Greek gods. And then Kirby and all the comic book writers pulled from that to make these characters our modern mythos. So, as I said, Scott Snyder's Absolute Batman, great story. But we don't need a retelling of an already established modern character. I felt the Absolute line should have been like the DC's Age of Heroes, where we were introduced to Silencer, the Damage, and there's the Immortal Men, and there was a few others. What was the fire guy that was like Ghost Rider, Burnside, or something like that? But they didn't give him time to resonate. And with Absolute Batman, if they would have taken a different character other than Batman, that would have been great. It would have introduced a new character. But nonetheless, I digress. At least here, this is staying within the main Batman continuity. This feels like Batman. James Gordon feels like James Gordon. Killer Croc is different, but he's one of those characters that you can kind of mix around with because he can be solid. So I'm interested to see. So Batman #1, guys. Highly recommend it. Artwork's fun. Story was relatively entertaining, and a big W for bringing Alfred back in at least some form for us. So if you've enjoyed what you see, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or where does it get you action figures and comics, and grab this series. If you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate taking a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little bat bell, next subscribe. That way I get typical content. You guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with you all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure that the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.